kind of discuss with you just the planning stages through the course of this offseason. I know you don't like to put a stamp of identity on your offense because you're going to do whatever it takes to win in any given week. But the majority of your victories, the passing game has kind of carried you to wins. And I'm just curious, when in your planning stages of the offseason, what was the tipping point that led you to say, we can win consistently this way? Was there a tipping point or a decision-making point in time where that kind of just went? Was there a light bulb moment?
No, I think the off seasons are pretty similar. This one's a little different, obviously, with the pandemic. But you do your self-scout evaluation, and then again, you really don't know what you have until you're out there on the practice field. That's the most important part of this whole thing is getting out in the practice field and seeing your players. Obviously, we've known some of them, Bees and Smoke, but we didn't know Steph per se. We didn't know Gabe Davis. We knew Isaiah's role. So in the receiver aspect of it, some of this 4-wide stuff that came about was really a product of those guys on the practice fields during training camp and them producing. And your job as a coach is to try to figure out the best people to use and then try to use them to their strengths. We have a lot of belief in that skill position that we have in the receivers. We do with the tight ends and the backs, but that whole 4-wide package really didn't come about until training camp, seeing the type of individuals we had and how they competed against the guys that we had on our defense and then the production that they had. And then you build it from there. That's what, OTAs, you can use some of that during that time to kind of see what you got. And here we kind of had to fast forward a little bit and figure it out on the fly. And I think that's a testament to the players and then the coaching staff. Yeah.
And in no way am I indicating that you didn't trust your players when I ask you this follow-up, but knowing you had a truncated amount of time to, feel good about that decision, that this is the direction that we're going in, was it maybe a little bit greater leap of faith than you as a coach would like to have? In other words, had you wished you had maybe a little bit more convincing evidence, or were you sold in a short period of time?
Yeah, no, I was very confident in the guys that we have. Look, it's a team sport. It takes all 11 guys on offense, but I'm very confident in Josh Allen. And, I think he's improved each year he's been with us. And then, you got a bunch of pieces. You got 5 offensive linemen and the quarterback. You got 5 other eligible receivers. You got to figure out who to put on the field and figure out what their strengths are and try to use them accordingly. That's what we've done every year. When Cole and Smoke got here, they've had pretty good seasons their first year here. And, Steph's now here and Gabe, and, we use Isaiah in his role, and we try to use everybody. We try to use everybody, and the tight ends, we try to use them. So no, I mean, it's just a decision you have to make when you're going through training camp. The time was the time, and I've got a lot of confidence in our players.
And last one really quickly, has this kind of been replicated as close as it existed in your mind's eye as to what this you hoped would look like?
Yeah, again, that was kind of that. As you're going through training camp, since you didn't have them early on, you have to do a good job of evaluating and seeing what they do well. And, you evolve each week. You still evolve right now in December. We're still not a finished product. We could have done a lot better yesterday. But the competitiveness which the guys display and, the intelligence and the toughness, look, we place a high premium on smart players. They're able to grasp the information that we teach them and then go out there and produce it at a high level. We still got a ways to go. We're still working, but, we've put in a lot of good work and made some strides, and have a great challenge ahead of us this week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Dabes. Dan Fates in Rochester. How are you?
Good, Dan. How are you?
Good. You got high praise last night from Josh and Sean just about the game that you called. And Josh said that he was in the zone. The ball was spinning out of his hand. He just felt like he was in the zone. As a play caller, do you get in the zone?
Look, calling a game, you prepare during the week. You study, you make adjustments. It's really no different each week. Credit to the players and the assistant coaches. They make your job easy. So, our guys put a lot of time and effort into, putting things together. And I think we got a really good staff and a bunch of players that work hard. And ultimately it's, the responsibility of those guys to go out there and do it. They're the ones getting hit and getting blitzed and have to get open and, just give all the credit to the players.
And when Josh says he's in the zone, does he communicate that back to you to say, hey, I got the hot hand. It just feels good today. Josh said in a dome with no weather and no wind, he said it was as good as he could feel.
Yeah, no, you can see. I mean, we've got a pretty good relationship. We've been through a lot these last 3 years, and you can feel it. When you're watching a game or calling a game, and he's usually pretty locked and loaded. Every game. I feel that way about him. So, he played a good game. He had a lot of help with the other guys, but left some stuff out there that we need to clean up.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brian. Sean was complimentary of Ken Dorsey. Josh was as well yesterday. And he's somebody, I think we've talked to you about this before, that, we don't get to hear from him quite a bit. What specifically has he meant to not only Josh, but this offense with what he's brought, in the locker room and in offensive meetings?
Yeah, he's just, again, we talk about, placing the premium on smart players. We also do it with coaches. He's a smart coach. He's good with those guys in the classroom. He's a good teacher. He's good on the practice field. He's a good thought guy. We do, a lot of communicating, with Doris, but, he's a really valuable piece to our staff, as is the other guys. Rob Boris has done a fantastic job, with his thoughts and ideas and his experiences, and Chad Hall and Bobby and, Wendy and Hef and Skip, and Shay. We got Mark Lubick. We just, got a good staff. And look, this is a team sport. It's a team sport with the players. It's also a team sport with the coaches.
And Ike Butker, another start yesterday. You've gotten a chance to look at the film. How did you think that he did?
He did good. He's a tough guy. He's, again, go back to the tough and smart. Those are two qualities that we place a high premium on, particularly at that position. And, you need to be working together. All five of those guys need to be working together. He's a guy we got confidence in. He's played for us. He did a good job.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Hi, Brian. Adam Benini.
Hey, Adam.
Real quick, just, you kind of touched on this in your response to Dan a couple of questions back, but I wanted to get your sense of, there's a lot that's been made of Josh's development and how he's progressed, and you talked about how we've seen that. But this level of consistency, what we saw on display last night, how much of a product is that of the fact that the two of you have been together now as offensive coordinator and quarterback deep into a third season?
It's a good question. I think there's something to that. Anytime you can have a working relationship with people on your staff, whether that be, a quarterback, which is obviously a very, very important piece of the organization. And he can kind of, finish your sentences and you can finish his, and what he feels comfortable with, and vice versa. And, there's, I'd say, a high amount of confidence between the both of us. And then you add the coaching staff to it. That's important. Experiences help, but at the end of the day, being prepared and playing well and trying to put them in the best position you can, that's what's the most important. Because you go out there and, you don't do that and you lay an egg, then, I don't know how much 3 years of experience helps when you do one of those games.
Well, I just want a quick follow-up with, I talked to Sean about this and he kind of spoke to it. We've seen flashes of this, more than flashes, from Josh through the course of his time here. And it obviously takes more than the quarterback. But to me, watching him, he just had a comfortability and a command and a confidence consistently through the course of the game. I think that's what stood out to me most anyway about last night. Is there anything to that? Do you see it that way? What's your take?
Yeah, no, well, I usually feel that with him. I think he's a confident player every time he steps out on the field. He had a good game. He played well. He was getting the ball out. One of our goals this game, playing the team we just played, was first down production, and staying away from some of those third and longs when the looks get a little bit fuzzy, and they do a good job of that. And he did a great job of staying on track. We mixed in some intermediate shots, some, easy completions for him. He got the ball out of his hands, saw the defense well. And, again, his job as a quarterback is to lead the team down and score points and help us win games. And, he's done that quite a bit around here since he's been here.
Thanks, Brian. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Coach Daboll, good afternoon. Mookie Hawkins, 104 Sports 1080. How you doing?
Good, Mook. How you doing?
I'm good. The little things that, wins the ball game are like Stephon Diggs blocking on chop block for, the spring knocks on a touchdown. But anticipation while threading the needle. I mean, how did that pass, that 22-yard strike from
Gabe?
From Gabe to Josh, from your view in the booth, how did that pass look to you?
Probably the way it looked to you. I mean, it was tight. It just got over his fingertips. He had great arc and pace on it for one of those intermediate throws, and it was a speed ball to do it. And he saw what he saw, and good pass, good catch by Gabe too.
Absolutely. And Coach, you've been very creative, and how has your stay in Alabama helped you be more creative coming back to the pros?
Yeah, look, it was 1 year in college. College is a little bit different than the pros, but learn. You take bits and pieces from wherever you've been, and you learn them. And if they, you can apply them to the players that you have on the roster, then you try to do that. Obviously, Josh is used the word dual threat quarterback. I just say he's a good quarterback. We try to put him in the best positions that we can put him in and help him develop the best way that he can, and along with all the other guys. Each game plan, for us is probably a little bit different. You'd like to have as much offense as you can have, and then pick and choose what you think you can utilize for that particular game that give your guys the best chance.
Absolutely, Coach. A great game last night, and good luck this week.
Thanks, Mook. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Brian, it's Kim Jones from NFL Network.
Hey, Kim.
Hi. I wanted to ask you two questions, one about each player. With Josh, since you've been around him so long now, where has he improved the most?
That's a long.
I don't mean it to be. You know what I mean?
No, that's a short question. Really in everything he's done, Kim, since the day he's been here. How he interacts with the people in the building, his relationships that he's developed, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but in the kicking game and with the defense, with the coaching staff, with the video department, how he handles his business and becoming a quarterback for the National Football League. He's got a great personality, and that shows with the entire organization. And, the X's and O's are obviously very important, but it's got to be something that he feels comfortable with. And we've developed that each year since he's been here with, things we think he does well, and try to incorporate, plays that we know he can go out there and execute. And then, credit Brandon and Joe Shane and Dan Morgan and those guys for bringing in players that, put around Josh that have helped him. He wasn't a highly recruited guy, Kim, as you know. Didn't have many scholarship offers, and was the only first-round pick we have here on our side of the ball. And he's a pleasure to be around. He's a grinder. He's a good leadership. He's got great leadership skills, and he's a worker. He knows he's far from a finished product, just like we all are. But it's the kind of kid you love being around and love coaching and love working with.
And I appreciate you went to the person first. And
yeah.
Listen, I don't know if I overplay Gabriel Davis. If I do, I'll own that, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I do have and I want you to correct me, but when I watch you guys, when he is involved and part of it, I just feel like your offense is better. I'm not suggesting he's the best guy you got. Like, I'm not nuts, but am I on to, like, it just, your offense looks better when I'm watching a game and one way or another, Gabriel Davis is involved in the playmaking.
Yeah, no, he's a guy we have a lot of confidence in. He's earned that opportunity since he's been here from training camp. He's come in, he's learned. He's got a great group of guys to learn from, and starting with Chad and Mark. But the receiver room is this is a really close knit room, and he fits right in line. He's learned a lot, I'd say, from Steph and from Smoke and from Bees, and we ask a lot of him as a young player. look, he's a rookie. He's played a lot of football for us. He knows every spot. He's a guy that has to fill in if another guy needs a break. You got to move him to the other spots, so the other guys play their own spots. And for a rookie, that's an impressive feat for him.
Okay.
He's gotten better since he's been here.
Yep.
Know that we all have confidence in him.
Okay.
Made some good plays for us.
Yeah, well, and I thought the one before halftime at the time just felt critical because you get 2 scores you're 2 scores ahead then.
Yeah, and good awareness of getting the ball.
Yeah.
I think it ended up with 4 seconds where we were able to
Yeah.
drop down there for a field goal, which was important at the end of the half there.
Okay.
Good situation. He's smart. He's a good football player for us.
So I'm not nuts.
No, right on.
That's my takeaway. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Hey, Dabes, can you hear me all right?
I got you. Hey, Sal.
How you doing, man? Josh, career day yesterday.
Is that a hockey jersey? What is that?
Not just the hockey, it's ASU hockey, man. That's a top 20 program. Everybody better get on board.
Okay.
But that's my first one, man. I got to dip my toes into the water from being Western New York. But
get you a couple Sabres jerseys there.
Hey, Sabres, if you're listening. But but hey, Josh had a career day yesterday against zone coverage. That was an aspect that I think he struggled against both the Titans and the Chiefs. So 2-part question here. How much of a focal point has that been for you in your offense, getting him, I guess, acclimated to seeing zone coverages? And if he can play like that when teams are playing zone against them, how critical is that for this offense moving forward?
Yeah, he did a good job of executing what he needs to execute for his position. He didn't hold on to the ball too long. He got it to the open guy. We had some outlets there that he didn't wait on other guys getting open. And, he did a good job of seeing the second level part of the defense. And when they stretched out, when he, hit digs on a couple of those curls. And, we have some guys that, are good situational players in that area. And obviously Bees and Diggs, but we utilize some of the tight ends and the backs. He did a good job of seeing the field. And when we got man, we got some snaps of man too. He's hit the one to Isaiah where Gabe had a little rub over there. And, he played a good game. He played a good game yesterday. He was dialed in, and, we expect that from him.
Do you think, after week 5 and 6, granted, it seems like a year ago at this point, but after weeks 5 and 6, it kind of seemed like, okay, here's the blueprint if you want to slow down Josh Allen. But do you think a performance like that kind of sends opposing coordinators back to the drawing board?
Well, I don't know. If you play good, we didn't play our best in those games. Could have coached better, could have played better. He executed well yesterday. We'll find out. We got a team that plays some zone coverage, just getting started on these guys that are pretty dang good. So every week's a new week, so that it's, you wish you could just bottle up what you had in one week and play the next week and then get the same results, but that's not the case in our league, as you guys have seen, week in and week out. It's you're battling each week just to try to scrap and find one more point than the other team.
Gotcha. I appreciate you, Dave.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Ryan, John Worrell.
Hey, John.
Records are made to be broken, but in 1991, as you were watching Jim Kelly put up 36, I believe it was 36 touchdowns, or I may be off on that number. But when you look at, could you have envisioned that you'd be coaching the guy who is one away from matching that record, the single season record in Buffalo?
No, I don't get into that too much. We're just trying to put together a good plan and get ready to play Pittsburgh. No, I appreciate the question. I do. It's not something I really think about right now where we're at. We're just kind of in the heat of the moment with where we're at, and, got one of the best teams in the AFC coming in. So, between the plane ride home and getting in here and starting to grind on those, there's got a lot of other things on my mind.
I get that. Just one more question from me. And
sure.
It's in Josh's development and having had the chance to play on big stages, be it Thanksgiving or in Pittsburgh last year, or even in his playoff debut, how much do you think all those experiences have helped prepare him for playing on bigger stages and this final run as we enter the final month of the season this year, be it playing last night or how we played last night, or playing Sunday night against the Steelers?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I know it's probably a good question for Josh. I don't want to speak on his behalf. He's pretty level-headed, John. He's wherever the games are. Monday night, playoff game, Sunday night, whatever it may be, we try to stay as level-headed as we can, in the quarterback room and offensively speaking, because it's just at the end of the day, it matters how you play. How many people are watching or where the venue is or whatever it may be. It doesn't really matter if you go out there and lay an egg, whether it's at 1 o'clock or not. But I'm sure, and again, I think this would be a good question for him. I'm sure, all experiences help. They all help.
Well, I know I said last question, but I need to follow up on that, because it is his on-field demeanor, though, because we saw that poise that we saw him play with last night, and in other games this season, maybe wasn't apparent in the second half against Houston when everything went south. There's something more to that. I'm not talking about preparation, but just being on the field and big in those situations, maybe.
I see it week in and week out with him. I see his confidence. I see his command of the offense. Are there certain games that we all coach or play better? Sure. But the confidence in his demeanor and the way he handles and approaches himself, I think is really good.
Fair enough, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
Good. You saw the Steelers defense last year. I'm sure you've taken a little bit of a look at them here today. The amount of guys they have in the secondary that can kind of move around and do different things. What kind of challenge does that present for a quarterback and just for your offense in general?
Well, their scheme, Coach Baller does a great job. They've been good for a long, long time. The Steelers defenses go back to a while since I've been in the league. It's always been good. And then it just seems like they keep plugging guys in, and when they lose a guy, they have the next guy. Then they have the outside backers that can rush. And just started on these guys earlier this morning, and right before I got on the call, I was watching their negative play tape. Not a good tape to watch when you get ready to play them. It's pretty impressive. It's all tied in. They do a great job of tying in their scheme with the front level guys. I know they had a big loss with Dupree there, but Watt, he's really an unbelievable player. And then Minka, I've got some familiarity with him at Alabama. He's just a ball hawk. He's very instinctive, very, very smart, reads the quarterback well. They mix it up with their coverages. Joe, I know, he looked concussed, I believe, yesterday. We'll see where he's at. Just a veteran player that's smart. This is a Pittsburgh Steelers defense. It looks like a Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And it's very challenging on you during the week to, they got a lot of good parts, they got a lot of good pieces, and they got a lot of good scheme. So it'll be a big time challenge.
Definitely. And for you personally, I'm curious. I know you're probably pretty good at blocking out the noise, good and bad, but your name pops up a lot as the hot head coaching candidate, and I'm sure your family and friends notice it, and sometimes it's hard to keep everything out. How do you compartmentalize all that stuff, knowing you're in the throes of kind of a run here, and you can't really split your mind up too much?
Yeah, I think if you're not focused at the task at hand in this league, it'll get you pretty quick. So it's really not hard at all to just lock and, we're creatures of habit. You do the same thing every day, on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, that maybe changes a little bit based on when you play, but you got to give everything you have to the week, to the team that you're playing that week, and to the players and the coaches. And if you don't, that's when it gets you. So, everything is focused on one thing. That's the Steelers this week, and that's what it'll always be. I've been in this league a long time, and, the ability to stay focused and and control the things you can control are important as a coach. And that's what I'll always try to do.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.